What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Woo!
Happy
How was it today?
Sunday fun day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank every single one of you for joining us today for episode 13 of Retro Rewind. It has been a hell of an adventure. I'm one of your hosts, William, and there's Jeff. Take it away, Jeff.
I am Jeff. How's everybody doing today? Like to see some new people in the chat. Unitrix, happy birthday. Oh, whose birthday is it?
It's
Unitrix.
Oh, Unitrix. Happy birthday, Unitrix. Ray, what's going on with you?
Just gaming, fantasy football, and sports.
Awesome.
Good thing you got the bye week this week to rest up your quarterbacks.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
How is that coming, Ray? Your fantasy league.
Well, I beat Jeff's ass last week.
Well,
He didn't mention that. Notice he's quiet.
Everyone's beating my ass, so it's really not an accomplishment. When you're in last place, everybody beats you, Ray. So,
Well, what you guys didn't see the other day when we went off camera was that Jeff's mom actually beat his ass. So he was he was writing us.
Oh my
in
God,
pain.
just a beautiful, beautiful family. I don't know how they had such a troll for a son, but just wonderful.
Well,
wonderful.
I have to say, your episode of No Yes Men, where your dad came on and started educating us all about the shipyards and stuff, it was fantastic. I could sit and listen to that man for hours. So
the best part was when my mother yelled at Ryzak for not knowing her Canadian history and Canadian geography. That was the best part. My mother yelling at Ryzak. So,
all right, Ryzak, how are you doing, man? What have you been up to?
Man, I'm awesome. Like, we had a great show the other day. You guys were both on there. It was great. I'm just glad to be here with you guys. It's Sunday and nowhere else I'd rather be. So,
absolutely. How was the hockey game or the hockey practice?
Hockey practice the other day. It was okay. My son got hurt, so we cut it a little short. But my daughter had a soccer game this morning, and here we are. So, always on the go in this house, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, you got future superstars, man.
I hope so, but if not, I'll still love him the same. How about that?
Hey, what a great father, man. Points to Ryzak.
Taking it from Ray.
you would love it more though if he made the NHL and could support you the way you'd like to become accustomed.
I don't think he has the last name for the NHL. It's not Russian enough.
That's
so
funny. So Jeff, we have a couple of wonderful guests with us today.
do. I am very excited for these two guests. I have followed both of them for a while. So first, we're going to bring another great Canadian retro gamer and personality, Pam. Here she is.
Yeah. Hello, Pam.
So I've told her this before, but I stumbled across her a few months ago, and she was doing her, you do a month-end review, and we'll talk more about that shortly. But you mentioned a retro store in my hometown that I did not know of. And so I went up later on, and I found Leisure Suit Larry there. So thanks to you, I did find a cool retro at a retro store in my hometown. So thank you for that. And our other guest is, I think he likes retro. I'm not sure. Mikey.
Mikey loves retro.
Oh, there you go.
I saw him playing Diablo Resurrection. I was checking that video out. That was pretty cool watching him play that.
Absolutely. How are you doing, Mikey?
Doing great, man.
Fantastic.
Well,
playing games every day. That's what we do. That's what I do.
there you go.
There we go. So thank you both for being here. I'm going to dive in right with Pam. Do you want to tell us, everyone in the chat, a little bit about you, your gaming history? How did you get streaming? Tell us everything, Pam 411.
Oh, sure. So, yes, I'm Pam. As you mentioned, I'm Canadian. Oh, my dog is choosing right now to drink her water. Sorry about that. I've been gaming basically my whole life. I was lucky enough to have a PC very early on when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and then sort of graduated to the NES, eventually PlayStation, and then sort of the newer consoles. And I've always loved talking about video games. So I started a blog specifically about World of Warcraft, which is where my channel name actually comes from, a while ago. And then once I sort of lost interest in that, I decided to start a YouTube channel, which started out as talking about the retro games I loved from when I was a kid, mostly the NES stuff I had played, and then just sort of branching out into what I was interested in from there. And now I've just started streaming fairly recently in order to try to especially do the indie games or some older games I've wanted to play. Reviews are a lot of effort, I've learned, and sometimes I want to share games with people, and streaming is a much easier way to do that. So
would I be wrong to assume that the hunter class was your favorite class?
I was a druid first of all, and then I was a hunter. So that's sort of where that name came from.
Awesome.
There we go. Okay, Mikey, what's your background? Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh boy, playing games since 5, maybe earlier than that. I fell in love with Donkey Kong. That was like one of my earliest memories, seeing it in the arcade. And as soon as I saw it, like, Mom, I'm like, I need a quarter. I want to go play this game. So kept asking her for quarters to go play Donkey Kong, and then Pac-Man, Centipede. Mm-hmm. And that's where my love of video games started. And then when Nintendo came out, I moved over to console gaming and have a Nintendo. And okay, that one broke down. I got to get another one. And they'll break it on me for playing too much of it, or all right, we need another one. So Nintendo, then Super Nintendo, and then what is this? What is a Sega Master System? What's a TurboGrafx 16? So I started falling in love with a lot of these console games, and I started actually going back to some of the arcade stuff, and looking at some of the newer, like older arcades that I'm like, wait, how did I never play this? And it just started from there. And now I'm playing, a lot of some of the newer stuff. Recently, I've been playing Metroid Dread. Spent 8 hours yesterday just playing the hell out of that. It's absolutely amazing, and it's so nostalgic for me. And it definitely brings me back to playing the original Super Metroid.
Yeah, I have a question.
I just fell in love with video games. Like, I come home, play video, from school, I play video games. And I'm like, it's just very nostalgic. And it got me into like wanting to do streaming when I saw streaming and sharing the experiences of the games that I played. And, especially like a lot of RPGs. I love RPGs.
Yes, sir.
Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, some of my favorite RPGs of all time.
Well, you mentioned Metroid Dread. What are your thoughts on it so far? And a specific question for you would be I'm very old school when it comes to Metroid. So the original Metroid is like my go-to Metroid. So how different is it from that as mechanics go?
From the original, I would say that the gameplay is a lot easier to pick up and just enjoy, because the original Metroid didn't have a map. No. You get lost. And even with the map, I still get lost because I have to travel back, going one place, go to another place, because I don't have the ability to get to a certain place. So it's a lot easier for you to pick up the game and play it, and and progress a lot easier, I feel, than the original. The original, I was like, all right, where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? I love the original, beat it years ago, but if I pick it up now, I'm confused. I don't know where to go. But when they created Super Metroid, that's one of my favorites. And then this is becoming like one of my all-time favorites, even maybe surpassing Super Metroid, which is scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do feel that it's definitely a contender. I see a lot of people tweeting that it could be a contender for Game of the Year, and I don't blame them, because the game is definitely brings back a lot of that nostalgic feel. It's like, wait, I'm playing Metroid in 2021 on console, and I feel like I'm playing Super Metroid back in the 90s, and I'm like, I didn't realize I was playing a newer game at that point when I was playing last night. I'm like, wow, this really feels like old school 1990s style of gaming, and it's just
it's good to know that they knocked it out of the park then.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely.
Looking at it,
absolutely
I was a little
fantastic.
Because it seemed different, That's awesome though. Hey Jeff, you want to give them the retro question, sir?
Sure.
To hear their insight on this.
So Pam, if somebody says, what is retro to you?
Mm-hmm.
What is retro to you?
For me, it's anything 2 generations old or older than that. So that means the 360 is now retro.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, interesting. So when the PlayStation 6 comes out, that means the PlayStation 4 will be retro. Interesting. Okay. All right.
You got an inside scoop on the PlayStation 6 already?
Yeah, please let us know,
Nice.
Jeff.
Are we dropping knowledge here
Can I
today?
get a pre-order?
You better pre-order it now if you want one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Triple
All right.
cents.
All right.
Triple cents
All right.
control.
So you draw the line right there. Doesn't matter what it is. 2 generations. Okay, cool. All right. Mikey, same question.
That's a loaded question because everybody has a different definition, I feel.
100%. That's why we asked the question.
and
Absolutely.
for me, it's like something that new comes out today. Like, I don't know if anyone played Axiom Verge that has a retro style of gameplay. It does vintage, classic, 80s, 90s, even what Pam said, it could be 2 generations ago. I consider PS3 retro at this point as well. As long it's such a hard choice for what I would consider retro. Also, if you can't buy it in the store, retail brand new, I have to buy it used. That's retro to me. That's retro. I can't go out and buy a PS3 game brand new. But they are making, I'm like, I just heard 2021, they're making a Super Nintendo brand new game that just came out. I'm like, what? So it's very hard to determine, what everybody has a different definition, like I said. So for me, it's a style. It's a style of gameplay, style of music, style of fashion that I would consider retro. Even if a game comes out new today, it could still have that retro style, and I would consider it a retro game.
And lots of games are coming out, newer games, brand new, that they're going with that retro, side scroller or top down or
Thank
whatever.
you for saying side scroller, not saying Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played a whole lot of side scrollers. What I find amazing is the newer updated versions of these side scrollers, the character animations and how fluid they are. It just blows my mind. It really shows you some of the frames you miss, or the animation frames that you miss for some of the little sprites, on the NES and Super Nintendo and stuff.
But we can't forget though, there were some games that were made long time ago that was ahead of its time, that had those graphics and that blew us away, like Donkey Kong with the drums. Games like that was just like, whoa, flashback out of this world. Yeah.
Rare really killed it.
Yes, they did.
They did amazing titles. Absolutely.
We often talk about not putting today's lens on an old game.
Yes.
Because people will do that. They'll look and go, oh, that's just horrible. But they're comparing it to something on the PlayStation 5. But you can't do that. You got to try and put the old.
Well, I think that's me and like Ryzak's son. Like when I try and show my son like Atari stuff, he's like, "Oh my god, how cute!" Like Cuber, he laughs, and I'm like, "I played this game at the arcade with quarters," and he's like, "Why? Why, Dad?" I love that game.
Pam, did you do a lot of arcading back in the day? Were you in the arcade a lot, or did you stick at home?
Not a ton. I was mostly an at-home gamer. Occasionally, I go to an arcade, like in a bowling alley or at a movie theater. Like, I don't remember ever really going into any standalones other than the Palladium.
Yeah.
I've been there a few times. I particularly like light gun games, but never like the sort of 80s arcade games.
Right.
Sort of.
So are you a fan of Time Crisis?
Yeah, I like Time Crisis. My favorite one is the Jurassic Park one where you're in the Jeep sitting down. That's my favorite
you sit down.
Yeah, I still play that.
I think we put $8 in, ran out of money, and we were on like close to the last mission or whatever on the safari. Yeah.
It's at Dave and Buster's right now.
Yeah, so Pam mentioned Palladium. That's like a Dave and Buster's for our American friends. So it's they have all sort of, you don't pay by coins, you buy a card, you put money on the card, and then you can bounce around. There's a big one, again, 20 minutes north of where I live. There's also some new style sort of restaurants that also have those. So you can have your restaurant, and then they also have these gaming where, again, you just put your card in and you run around and you can refill your cards. You don't need quarters and stuff like that. So kind of like a David, but we have those in Canada too. But Palladium is also, and there's also a few other places that do that. So Mikey,
well, Pam, he educated us. Pam, he educated us on the tire store. That was a debacle that went back a few episodes ago. He had to explain.
He means Canadian Tire. Okay. He means Canadian Tire. Yes, yes. They call it the tire store. Yes, we had
like a Walmart.
One of our first episodes, we had John Scar, and we had from the Nerd Nest with Lloyd from the Nerd Nest. So 2 Canadians. So it was the 3 of us. So it's a big Canadian chat, and the other 3 were like, "What are you talking?" We had no idea what we were talking about. And I mentioned Canadian tires. So
I bought my first Coleco at Canadian Tire or Amigo, whatever it was, and I'm like,
yeah,
at a tire store? Wait a minute.
And Ryzak just doesn't understand our bagged milk. They just don't understand how we drink milk out of a bag.
When I did go to Canada, it's like everywhere I went, I could get chocolate mousse, like even at McDonald's. So that was like my sticking point in my head.
Yeah, there you go. Mickey, question for you: console or emulator? See, I'm not an emulator guy. I'm on record as not being. I'd rather play on my old PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. Right
at this point, both. I say that because I use both, and I don't knock anyone for using emulators unless you're trying to pirate something. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so hard to get games like, I'm just going to use Earthbound for an example. Who wants to pay $450 to play something? It's ridiculous, and the market's just insane to play some of these games. Dracula X is another one that's really expensive for Super Nintendo. I don't mind anyone wanting to, emulate games. I personally would prefer to play the games on console, but I don't knock people for emulating because I do emulate. And, it's hard to get stuff like that to find in the wild for a good price because, people like, they'll sell it even above market. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I remember getting that game for like $50, $60. I'm like, when did it skyrocket to $200 to $300?
So you found the prices of retro games going up because Essex was on a couple of shows the last show, and that's why we had him on because he's been on record of tweeting. And we also talked about the $2 million
and the WADA games and the way they're grading stuff and
that's the main reason.
Oh,
yeah. That's the main reason right there.
I think
that's the main reason. Oh well, it sold on eBay for $1 million, $2 million. And I'm going into my. I'm like, lady, I have 5 of them in my storage. I'm like, it's not worth that much.
Exactly.
I'm like, on top of that, 20 or more people own it. It's not one person that went and said, I got to have this Mario title.
Well, me and SPG, we love Neo Geo. And I'm sorry, but I don't have money right now to get a Neo Geo. That's like my holy grail of consoles, retro consoles. I mean, I have retro, but I don't have that one. And I can't get the game. So I have to play emulators.
You could sell your PlayStation 5 and your Xbox Series S, and you could go buy one.
I could also hit you over the head with my PlayStation 5 too.
It's a heavy one.
Okay, Pam. What are your thoughts on emulators?
Yeah, so I also like both. Like, there's certain consoles I like to collect for and have the real cartridges or discs. So, NES, PS1, PS2, I like to play those on the original hardware. Although technically, I guess I play my real NES carts on a Retron, so I'm sort of emulating, kind of. But for other things like the Super Nintendo and the Genesis systems I didn't have growing up, and whose games, especially the Super Nintendo games that I am interested in, are just stupidly expensive, and I'm not willing to put out the money. So I have the analog systems for those. Nice. And on the Genesis, I use a flash cart, and on the Super Nintendo, I just use an SD card. So I'm fine with emulating. I don't particularly care for emulating things on my PC because I like to have a nice little cozy chair with my little setup for my retro games. But yeah, I'll do both.
Have you found the prices in Canada going up?
Yeah.
I'm still, I haven't, maybe I haven't been paying attention. Maybe I haven't been documenting them because we talked about that with Essex last show. Have you noticed the prices going up? I know you go to some swaps and some other stuff. You did the one in Milton, which I missed. There's one coming up next month, I think, in the falls. Yeah. So have you found the prices going up, or I maybe I haven't been paying attention. So I'd like your input on that.
I think so. Yeah. If I check out games that I reviewed previously, everything from Nintendo to PlayStation, they've all gone up quite a bit over the last year or two. I found all through the pandemic, the prices just kind of jumped. So
yeah, everybody being at home probably didn't help. But what I'm afraid of is that with this craze of grading your games and the WADA information, is that one day I'm going to go to a yard sale, see a box full of Atari stuff, and I go, ooh, how much for the Atari and all those games? And they'll go, oh, $1,000.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can keep the dirty Atari, That's what I'm afraid of. But Pam, what is your favorite console? And also, what are you collecting for recently?
My favorite console, retro console, or just generally?
Any console, really. But
I mean, my most played console is my Xbox Series X or One. Okay. They're basically the same thing. But my favorite retro console, I think, is the PS1. So, yeah,
that system definitely hit the market. And surprised everyone. That was a fantastic launch.
Like, what are these joysticks? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to talk about controllers here in a minute because there's been a variety of all kinds of different controllers for all kinds of different systems. Mikey, how about you? What are you recently collecting for, and what is your favorite retro or system just in general?
Favorite system by far, Super Nintendo. 16-bit era, just that era alone for me was very nostalgic. I have a lot of great memories on Super Nintendo. And it was definitely like, I remember crying over some games. They were so great, storyline. And I think at that time too, there were such a war between Sega and Nintendo that it pushed both companies to create such memorable games. And for me, my favorite game is actually on the Super Nintendo, which is surprisingly Final Fantasy II, also known as Final Fantasy IV in Japan. That was definitely, I remember playing that back when it first came out, and I cried during the game. I'm like, what am I doing? It's a video game. I'm crying because certain characters.
It sucked you in.
Yeah, it sucked me in, exactly. Yeah. And I was fortunate to find a complete in-box copy in really good condition, and it definitely that it had the genre of games. And I remember playing Genesis for just the sports games. I'm like, why can't I get these sports games on Super Nintendo? And I would remember playing that with a bunch of friends like John Madden and NHL hockey, and Joe Montana football.
Talk football was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I used to love playing that, but definitely Super Nintendo. What I'm collecting right now, I'm really not. I think latest stuff I've been getting is for Nintendo Switch because my kid also has the Switch Lite. So we got it for him for Christmas. I think it was past Christmas, and he's been playing nothing but that. And but he also loves, because I know you mentioned, kids earlier, and he loves retro. Like some of his favorite games are retro games. Space Invaders.
How old is he?
Galaga. He loves Galaga and Space Invaders.
How old is he?
He's 11.
Okay.
Oh,
so right. he loves that. He loves Donkey Kong. We were playing Adventure Island. So he loves a lot of that. He loves a lot of indie games that have that retro style. So
that's awesome.
That's currently what I think I've been purchasing.
So you weren't on Team Sega or Team Nintendo back in the day?
I was
Hold
more.
on.
I definitely
best commercial ever. Sega does what Nintendo.
Yeah, that was a killer commercial. I'm not gonna lie. And then that when I bought the Genesis, everybody knows Sega. My kid used to say it like Sega. I'm like,
Sega! Sega!
no, Sega.
Sega!
But I definitely
Awesome.
feel that I was definitely a more Nintendo based player because a lot of people owned the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo. They went straight from there, but you know, Genesis and Sega definitely grew. And my latest purchase, actually, retro, was the last thing I purchased retro was a Sega Master System because I didn't have that growing up. So I just want to play the game.
Shinobi.
So I picked up a Master System with a couple of games, and then I'm like, all right, I gotta get an EverDrive for it, a flash card, so I could play some of these games. And I'm like, I have Wonder Boy for Nintendo Switch, which is new, and I'm like, I'm playing it on the old one. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm like, wow, you know. So
hey Pam, what
it's
what's the most frustrating retro title for you? If you're gonna go play, or you refuse to play it because it gets you upset.
No, I won't refuse to play it, but my kid can answer this question. Hey, Jake, watch this. Jake, what's the most frustrating Nintendo game, old Nintendo game that I play? What's the hardest one, the most frustrating that gets me frustrated? Ghosts and Goblins. There you go. Ghosts and Goblins. You know,
Good one.
Ghosts and Goblins for sure. Thanks, man. Yeah, Ghosts and Goblins. I used to play that in the arcade, and the NES port is fantastic. And that's a game that frustrates me. That Battletoads I've been recently playing. Oh my god, there's so many. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I still haven't beaten Mike Tyson. I can't.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
I'll sit there, and I saw the intro, and I'm going, that's Tyson. I'm like, I can't.
You gotta watch his eyebrows and his eyes.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
twitch.
I had people showing me how to be. I'm like, I can't. I'm too old. I can't function that quickly. My reflexes are not that quick as I used to be. But yeah, that's definitely a frustrating. Ghosts and Goblins, Mike Tyson. I recently beat Castlevania, so for NES, so I was very proud of that because Dracula was tough. That was frustrating. So I was proud of that.
Very tough game.
Okay, Pam, what's your most frustrating game? If you
Adventures
have one, maybe you don't have one.
Dino Ricky.
Dino Ricky.
It looks so adorable. I love shoot 'em ups, and it's almost like a shoot 'em up because it's like a scrolling shooter. You're just walking instead of flying a spaceship. And that's fine. But then they just start throwing platforming in with the auto scrolling, and it's just awful. And his speed changes all the time. And then when his speed changes, his jump changes. It's just, I hated it.
Mine, I want to hear the other hosts as well, but a game I refuse to go back and play, but I have fond memories of it, but I used to scream too. And that is all 3 of the Ninja Gaiden games. Those were so aggravating. I could get to the end boss of the first game. I could not beat him, not without Game Genie or whatever, you know, but fantastic games with cool cutscenes and a cool story. But my Lord, was that frustrating. Just absolutely frustrating. How about you, Jeff? A retro game that you find frustrating? And not Devil May Cry 3. I know you've been playing that one lately.
Actually, I've been enjoying that one. Devil May Cry makes an appearance later on in the show. I'm not unlike Pam, who likes to shoot. I'm just not good at shooter games. So anything, like if you've ever watched me play even current like Red Dead, or you've watched me play, and my kids laugh at me because in like even like modern Red Dead, they're like, he goes, how can you be playing it so long and you still can't ride a horse or shoot? I'm just not good, and that's why I don't play with you guys when you guys are playing, you know, the Assassin's Creeds and the Fall, you know, and you guys all say, come and buy it and see, like, you guys just know I'm just not as good. So any of those shooter games, because I'm just like all over the place trying to, even with auto aim on, I still can't do it. So anything shooter based, unlike Pam, who loves the shooters, I like them. I'm just not any good at them, and they just frustrate me, and then I end up rage quitting.
Well, Jeff, in Siege, we live and die as a community, so you should join. Come on now. It's okay. How about you, Isaac? Any game that frustrates the hell out of you?
Yeah, Double Dribble. Even though it's a classic game and I love it.
It is classic.
It was just, you got to a certain point where you got down the block that if you didn't hit it right, you couldn't get that dunk sequence to go through. And then you would take your 3-pointers, and that rim would just get like insanely small. It is very much the game that taught me timing And it was always frustrating for me to play, even though I loved it because basketball is my favorite sport.
Like when you're at a festival and they have the carnies there when you have to shoot the basketball, but the basketball's overinflated and the nets are little.
Yes. Yep.
Or the bottles are glued down. Or
yeah, that's right.
Yep. Not saying it's not a great game. It always frustrated me playing that game.
How about you, Ray?
Well, I told you before that I'll tell you the retro one that frustrated me was Friday the 13th, the NES game by LGN that frustrated the hell out of me with the kids and running around. I got lost. That frustrated me. And then now during this day, Super Meat Boy. If you ever play Super Meat Boy,
yes.
I went bonkers trying.
I can see that one too.
Okay,
yep.
Just
it's kind of like Cuphead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nah, my son's playing Cuphead right now.
Oh, he did get it.
Yeah, he did get it.
How's he liking that?
He loves it. He loves it.
Awesome.
Good. Loves it.
The art in that game just blows me away.
Yes.
Your son has put down Fortnite? Excellent.
He has put down Fortnite just for a little bit. Just for a little bit.
You know,
just for a little bit.
You have to.
You have to, man. You have to get him to that's one thing I talk with my son about. You got to switch it up. Take a break from it, go back to it. You'll find that you're even better when you go back. You got to switch it up, play different games, get different skills, and it'll help you when you go back. But you got to take a break from that game, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Pam, did you ever do any of the text-based games? We've talked about this. I'm a big old text-based guy. So, Mikey, you were talking about you would get lost. Well, I would write stuff down, right? I'd draw out the little maps and try to figure where I am. What about text-based games back in the day, Pam? Did you ever do any of those?
I don't think nobody was that in the 50s, the 40s. What was that? I don't think Pam and them did that. I think you're the only one that did that, Jeff.
1975 on the mainframe, Raymond.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the graphic adventure games, but even the text parsers were something I wasn't really able to get into. And by the time I was into the games, most of them were coming out with a point and click interface. So I didn't play too much. I think the first Quest for Glory and maybe like one of the King's Quest, but no, once the point and click interface sort of became standard, I was just all on board that and wasn't as much into the text-based stuff.
Mikey, any text-based for you in your past?
I played a few, not many. I don't remember playing them because I had a hard time like trying to find where to get them, because some people mentioned it. I fell in love with Big. You know the movie Big? The beginning of the scene where Melt Wizard, that really wanted me to play the text-based games. So I was looking to find games like that. I couldn't find them, and then a buddy of mine, showed me a couple of them. So I played a little of it, but really never got into them that much. And they don't make them anymore, so it was hard for me to actually get into them because once, RPGs like Dragon Warrior and stuff like that came out, where you actually saw where you're going and know where you were going. I'm like, all right, this is what I want. I have an adventure game where I can, have a story and my actions determine what happens to me. And that's what I fell in love with and didn't play text-based games anymore after that.
Speaking of Big, I saw an article just recently that Tom Hanks and, the piano scene, the other guy whose name is escaping me, they practiced for months to be able to do that. And when they showed up on the day of filming, they also had brought in professional dancers just in case. And Tom Hanks and the other actor were really pissed off, and they went and nailed it on the first take.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
I saw that just recently, but they were so pissed off that they had professional dancers just in case, just to do the footwork.
Right.
They went and nailed it on the first shot. Just since you mentioned Big, I just happened to read about that recently.
Tom Hanks is awesome. He's awesome.
One other question we ask, we kind of touched on this briefly, but Pam, what is the first game you remember playing that got you hooked or that caught your attention and got you excited for the possibility of gaming?
Oh, the first thing I played was on PC, and I don't know what it was called. It was like a trucking simulator game where you had to take your cargo across the country and fill up your truck with gas and stuff like that. I don't really remember what it was called, and I was very young, but I guess Mario 1 was probably the first real memorable one that I put a lot of time into.
Right on. How about you, Mikey?
Well, as you know, it was the arcade stuff that really got me
Arcade.
into video games. And then, you know, you mentioned ColecoVision, and I played Coleco and Smurf. Believe it or not, Smurf. I remember
that was
Smurf,
good.
Gargamel's Castle.
Yep.
And I played the hell out of that.
every Saturday.
And I was like, okay, it was such a simplistic game, but I've like really played that a lot. And
I
then
can
if
still
you-
hear the jumping, like the,
Yeah,
the,
it's
the
boing,
little smart. Yes, yeah.
and then you hit it and like it was just so simple mechanics, but it was such a fun game back in the day.
I'm
And
2 feet from the rock. Why is it killing me when I try to
Yes.
jump over it?
Exactly, and you had to jump precisely right, or else
Yep.
you're dead. So that, but a lot of your arcade games really got me wanting to, you know, move over to console stuff. And once like, okay, I can play this stuff at home. And then Super Mario, I played the hell out of Super Mario Brothers. So stuff like that really like wanted me to play, you know, get me into the path of like, all right, I want to, you know, I like video games. I actually enjoy playing video games. So
Well, you can't play video games without a good controller. Now, we've heard what your favorite consoles were, but that doesn't mean that they had your favorite controller. What was your preferred controller?
official or third party?
It doesn't matter. There's because why I'm bringing this up is that there's a couple periferials that I want to discuss.
I gotta go get it. I gotta go get it.
Oh, he's going for props. He's going to get
I
a
love
prop.
that.
This excites us.
I think I said,
You're
Pam, props are encouraged if you have props.
Mhm. Yep, I got mine here.
Oh, you got yours there. There you go.
Here it is.
So, all right, hold up. I'm going to make you full screen so you can show us.
Oh,
This is
you go.
my favorite controller, the
Nice.
Logitech
Logitech.
PlayStation
yeah.
controller, wireless.
What makes it your favorite?
It feels good in your hand. It's comfortable. It has you know, a really nice grip. It had the rumble pack, the analog sticks, the cross pad is very responsive. It just feels good, you know. And for official, I'm going to go with Super Nintendo controller. But this here is definitely my favorite because it just has a nice weight. You actually feel like you're holding a controller, and you don't feel like you're struggling to hit, you know, to hit like certain buttons. Everything feels very in reach. So that's definitely my favorite.
Right on. How about you, Pam?
My favorite is currently the Xbox Series controller. It's got the best D-pad ever, as far as
Is it
my
very
opinion
clicky?
goes. It's very clicky.
Awesome. I love a good click.
It's got the offset sticks, which is what I prefer, and I also like a big, heavy, weighty feeling controller. Just all the triggers and the buttons, they feel really nice, and I think it's just perfect for me. And then if I have to go retro, I'm also going to say the Super Nintendo controller, which I also have here. I think Nintendo is doing great with the NES. Now it's a little hard to hold. Like, I always find those edges are just digging into my fingers, especially since all the games are hard and I'm just like gripping the controller. But they had it. They set the standard for controllers with this, and then after this, they just lost their minds. So
Pam, did you play with the Elite Xbox controller at all? Is there any comparison with that Series X controller from that?
yes, 1 second. So this is the Elite 2 here.
Mm-hmm.
It feels, I actually really like the feeling of this. It's just as heavy. It's got like a nice sort of matte finish, and I do like how you can like do the draw distance on the triggers and things like that, and the various sticks. But even the D-pad, it's better on the Series controller than it is on here, even if you put the faceted thing on.
Interesting. For $150 controller in your hands right
I
now?
think in Canada, I think these are like $220. It's real
Jesus
stupid.
Christ.
Yeah.
Hey, Pro, I got something to show.
All right. Let me make you full. Let me bring you right up here, sir.
All right,
There
thank
you are, man.
All right, this is my what is it? Nyko. This is called my Airflow. This is an old retro controller that has a fan, and it has holes
Oh.
Does that cool your hands?
Yes,
Keep
it
'em from
does,
sweating?
brother.
Really?
Yes, and it also has, if you look,
That's nice.
it has
Turbo?
high and low and turbo
Oh yeah.
for the buttons and for your hands. So if you want
Wow.
the high, if your hands are hurting and you've been clicking, you can put it on high or you can put it on low. Yeah, and it had turbo, but yeah. But
Turbo and it dries your hands, man. That's a double threat controller, right?
get out of
there.
this. You know what? You take a shower, you need to dry your hair. You know, not that I have to worry about it, but you just
Multiple uses for that accessory. Jeff, how about you, sir? And hey, Pam, I have to agree with you. The Nintendo controller was the most comfortable for me until Super Nintendo, because you're right, those corners, it
Mhm,
makes a difference rounding them off.
for sure.
Very big difference. How about you, Jeff? Oh, you're muted, sir.
Muting because people don't like this. The chair doesn't squeak. It's wood on wood. It's a wooden. It's a
you've
wood.
been
It's
squeaking
dude,
through the very beginning, rocking back, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna say nothing.
It's a
I'm
wooden.
not gonna say.
It's a wooden chair on a
Well,
wooden floor.
Well, then
doesn't even
you
move.
are rocking in the chair.
Jeff,
And that's what
Jeff,
it
your
is.
chair's trying to tell you something.
Either that or somebody's on a bed on the other side of your camera.
It's a wooden chair on a wooden floor.
He's like, there's no springs, guys. What the hell?
Alex
it's
in the
it's
chat
his
wanted
old
to-
bones, Ray. That's
Alex
what it
in
is.
the chat wanted to tell you.
I
NH
saw that.
Captain
I
had
saw
it.
that. I saw
Jeff
that.
needs this too.
Pam, we've talked a lot on the show because a lot of times we have, there's a lot of US guys. Sometimes we have some of the UK guys, but they forget how more expensive stuff is up here, right?
Yeah.
So stuff that sometimes we just couldn't afford to get it because
Mhm.
it was just not available here. Now SPG has something. He
I
knows.
always say this.
Yeah, go ahead and say it.
The only product that ever came out in Canada before the United States involving gaming was oh geez, I've said it so many
shit.
times.
That's embarrassing.
The Game
He
Genie,
knows it.
the Game Genie by Kalika or Kalu, I don't know. Anyway, the Game Genie released in Canada first. They were very afraid that Nintendo was going to sue their pants off if they released it in the United States. It eventually came out, but go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Sorry. I think my favorite one is when, because I have them both, the PlayStation 1 went to with the left and the right sticks, because the original ones didn't have that. And I play some retro games where I can only use the D-pad because it was made before, the left and right stick, right? So sometimes I'm hitting the stick. Gotta use the D-pad, right? So I think once they moved to having the left and right stick, that's when I was really happy. I could get away from just using the D-pad. Yes, the Nintendo and the Segas, they're still classics, but if I had to name one, the first one with the left and right was my favorite.
Right on. How about you, Ryzak?
My favorite controller is just the Xbox controllers in general. I've got pretty big hands. I like the offset joysticks, like Pam said. It's just comfortable for me for the triggers. And if I can kind of edit the question a little bit, the coolest controller ever is the N64 controller. I don't, it's just so different. Like, it's just so different, right?
It was different. That's, I think, what Pam was mentioning is they kind of lost their mind when they went to that design a little bit.
Yeah, like it's
So many buttons.
You could throw it and it would come back to you. Like,
I remember playing GoldenEye, and it was my first time playing it, and I was holding the controller like you would hold a PlayStation controller with the two things on the outside, and like reaching my thumb across to like try to hit the trigger. And someone's like, you can just hold the middle. And I felt so stupid. And since then I was like, I hate this controllers.
I did the same. I would hold it on the sides too.
Yeah.
No, so cool. I don't think we've had a show yet, at least one that I've been a part of, where somebody hasn't mentioned GoldenEye.
It's very
Come on, how can you not? How can you not?
GoldenEye was like the ultimate.
It's a classic, and
Yes.
it has a very warm spot in everybody's heart usually. If they did multiplayer with friends, if you bought GoldenEye and played it by yourself, maybe it's not the game, that
even the
that everybody
campaign.
else
It was
thinks
both.
it is.
It was both for
The campaign
me.
was
Yeah.
good too.
Even the campaign,
it
'cause it
both-
went with the
the
movie.
campaign was amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
It did follow the movie really close, and
Yeah.
a lot of people would disagree with me, but that's my James Bond, man. Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce.
Yeah.
Sean
But all right,
Connery.
My controller, my favorite one, I'm just going to bring it up real quick. And this was not a comfortable controller. It was for the NES, but it did have turbo, and it made me feel like I was in the
There
arcade.
you go.
The
All right.
NES Advantage, and it weighed like 10 pounds. You could murder somebody with that by dropping it. It was extremely heavy, but it had the turbo buttons, and I mean, you couldn't break it. It was tossed a few times, and it always worked.
Think of all the games that you had to play where there was button mashing that this controller came in handy for. That now you don't have. You actually have to sit there and like.
Absolutely. I think it was one of the most well constructed Nintendo peripherals for the NES. I'm not sure if it was super popular or not, like if it sold a heck of a lot, but I really enjoyed it. But it was super heavy.
I think most of my friends that had, I did have one, but most of my friends that had it, they were into fighting games, and so that's why they got it.
I had the Nintendo Max. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was kind of like shaped. I mean, it was shaped like kind of like trying to be shaped like this, but it was. I used to play. I love playing. Yeah, there you go. Had the circle, man. I love playing that.
Now, Ray, I know that that was the Luna controller you just held up, right?
Yes, it was, sir.
How is that compared to the other controllers in your opinion? Because it gets great remarks, right?
It's really good. I mean, it depends on your Wi-Fi. I know some people have issues with it because it's connected to the Wi-Fi, but it works good for me. It works.
It's got that texture to it, though, doesn't it? Doesn't it have like a texture?
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's basically the Nintendo Pro controller. That's what it is.
With a grip.
With a grip. That's what it is.
Right on. Well, bringing up peripherals and controllers, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but when the Power Glove was first released or marketed and was about to come out, there was a device called the U-Force. You didn't put a glove on. It detected your hand movements through little light diodes and stuff. And anyway, here it is.
Yeah, you got to show the video.
Yeah, I'll show the video showing it in motion and stuff. But
now, see, does that remind you of G.I. Joe, that logo?
Yes, it does. Very much G.I. Joe. Now, the thing is, you're supposed to be able to use this. It's like a controller that you use your hands. It's motion activated instead of very similar to what the Kinect did years later. But what it is you'd plug it into your system, and depending on what game you had, you'd run your hands over the left and right side, or you could hold your hands in the center like a pilot stick and control some of the games. Now, the main issue with this device was that no games actually were created to incorporate this handheld or motion controlled technology. So eventually they released one game, but it was haphazard. It was like a party type style game. There was a bunch of them on there, but a very interesting peripheral, but it died a horrible death.
I'm glad you brought it up. Would you consider the Kinect to be a controller?
Man.
You were the controller, right?
Right. You were the controller. It just pick up your movements. But that technology lacked. You know, a lot of people what did they do with was it the 360? They put it in with
they just didn't support it, man. It was actually really cool. I can't remember what the name of the game was, but like you had all the blocks ahead of you and you would like throw all the like dodgeballs at it, and knock out all the blocks. It was a lot of fun. And then the bowling game.
Right on. Now, what's funny about this device is that they had a heck of a lot of trouble. You think that a hinge is very easy to create for a device, but the way this thing had to fold and flex and then lock into place, I guess they spent a lot of money trying to perfect this hinge on this thing. And then also in the warehouses, they had to disassemble them, test the light diodes, figure out which ones were close together in light proficiency, and then they would reconstruct them. So like they had a lot of issues.
Feels like you're getting ready to play Electronic Battleship or something.
Nah, look, you know what? Just wait when you see what he does with his hands.
Magic spell? What is he doing?
I might have to bring up the other video, Ray, of them playing Punch Out.
Bring up the other video, dude.
All right, I'll do that real quick.
All right, so they can actually see a game get played.
Yep.
Because
this is a guy unboxing it and stuff.
I was like, why couldn't I have this? I would have been like, I'll let you guys see it.
Yeah, now if I would have seen this before I saw the Power Glove, so let me back up a little bit. Christmas of whatever year it was, 96, 97. Anyway, the Power Glove the Power Glove was all over TV. I didn't know what it did, didn't know what it was. I knew I had to have it. It's just like every other kid. And I begged my mom and dad for it. And when we got it, I played with it for an hour, and then it went back in the box, and I didn't touch it. Why? Because I didn't know how to set it up. I didn't know how to use it. I thought it just sucked. Years later, I found out you actually had to connect those motion sensors up and all that stuff, or whatever it was.
Nintendo had great peripherals all around. I mean, they had the trackpad too, right?
Yes, they did.
So just that NES system, they put a lot of stuff out. And then you had a lot of people that made off-brand. So,
all right, I've almost got the video. What's your favorite your most favorite arcade game, Pam, when you did make it to the arcades?
Other than the Jurassic Park one, I think it was honestly it's all light gun games or shoot 'em ups that you can play, like the Japanese ones, like the cave shooters and things that you can play in arcade. Those are fun.
Pinball?
Yeah, I'll play
I love
pinball occasionally. There was also another game called Maximum Force, which the bar near me, this wasn't when I was a kid, this was when I was at least 19. The bar that like everyone went to, that I went to school with or worked with, had a Maximum Force stand-up light gun game. So people would be talking and dancing. I'm be like, I'm just gonna go over here and shoot some bad guys.
that's so funny.
All right, here is the CES. I'm not sure exactly what year the CES took place, but here, yeah. So it's like the Power Glove, except you didn't strap anything to your hand.
I think he's playing Mike Tyson. Yeah.
Yep. And the funny thing is all he would have had to have done is just this. You didn't have to, it wasn't reading your arms and motion and stuff, but it went up against the Power Glove. And it actually had a longer life than the Power Glove, believe it or not.
We've talked about the Power Glove before. It did not have the capabilities that you thought it would.
Correct. Yeah, you thought it would put you right in the game, and come to find out, you had to like turn your hand and move a finger to get Mario to jump. It just wasn't the same. But there's the stick, the flight stick. I don't know why you would have a plastic stick in your hand, but apparently it would help the unit distinguish your moves. And a lot of this a lot of this technology went directly into the Kinect. So like I couldn't imagine if they actually rebuilt this type of device today with the technology we have. It would probably be pretty exciting.
Would have liked this for like a DJ game.
Virtual, I was just thinking virtual DJ. Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway, it's just a very, very interesting peripheral. U-Force is the most radical development in controllers since video games were invented. That didn't hold up to time, did it? Oh, that's funny.
I've got a question for both of you guys. Mikey, I'll start with you. Being a content creator, what is your favorite piece of content that you've created so far on your channel?
That's tough because I had a lot of different, reinventing myself, different names, different things.
That's a great question.
Man, Twitter's funny today. Go ahead.
I think
you want us to come back. You want us to come back to you while you think about it?
I think it was just having my kid on with me.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
sharing the, there's a lot of moments, but I think, just having him stream with me on stream, and playing games with him or letting him play the game and I commentate. We had funny moments and funny clips, and just, I didn't care who was in the chat. I didn't care who was watching. It was just sharing that experience and him wanting to play the game and wanting to do it every Saturday morning. We used to do that. So that's something new that he never wanted to. So having him share Adventure Island, and we were playing Adventure Island,
Great
and
game. Yep.
and I don't know if anyone ever played the game. There's a part in the game where stars come out of the guy's butt. So it looks like stars coming out of their butt. So it was like Starbutts, instead of like Starbucks, or coming to Starbutts. So we made a whole skit out of that, and we were crying. He had tears in his eyes, and that was probably one of the most fun parts. Like as content creating, just sharing that experience it was pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Well, that's an awesome answer, man.
And Pam, I know I'm going to ask you the same question, but I know that your content takes different turns because you actually can kind of dress up for some of your things, and you touch a broad range of stuff. But what's your favorite piece of content you've created?
I think it's my video on the dig, because it just seems sort of fancier than my other videos. Took a lot more research, kind of got into like the documentary side of things and the history of how the game was made, in addition to sort of my thoughts on how successful it was as a game. And just, lots of research, lots of B-roll footage used. I think it's just sort of my best overall video.
Definitely not just turning on the camera and going. You're putting a lot of extra time into setting up before you get to that point. Are you going off of skits, or not skits, but scripts? Are you writing stuff out that you're speaking to and things like that?
Yeah, on any of my reviews, those are all completely scripted. It's just my sort of update videos, or like I've been doing ranking videos that are more unscripted, but most of my, structured videos, those are all scripted.
Oh, and knowing that, I know how much time that can take. So
yeah, that was going to be my question: is how much time would it take you to do it? Not take away the time it spends playing the game, and take the time away from that actually playing, but to write a script, to set up the clips you want, and then to edit it all and get it into a proper form that you're happy with. How long would you say that takes per video?
Depending on the video, it probably between 10 or 20 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
So
you are committed.
Yeah.
Like, that is commitment.
Yeah, it is.
I've had relationships that haven't even lasted that long.
We don't want to hear about the roller skating rink.
Oh
right?
my God. Each week, Ray's mom and I, we go back and forth. It just
Really.
We got a question here. Question for everyone. What is one game that you absolutely loved the story / plot, but the game itself was absolutely horrible?
That's an awesome question, Sierra.
It is, man. That's a hard one to figure out.
Love the story and the plot.
Oh man. Okay. Damn it. What the name is that? Alone in the Dark. The first one was a pain in the ass to play, but was extremely satisfying with the story, because it was similar to a Resident Evil type, game where you investigate this haunted house, you find out some things are like truly macabre and other things are, it wasn't a ghost after all. Anyway, it was Alone in the Dark, Edward Carnby. I'd say that one for my answer anyway. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I saw the question in the chat, and I was just kind of I don't know. I can't think of one.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead, Ray. I can't.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So there was a game. I love the box art. I'm a sucker for box art, and then I find out that the game sucks. But this game was Vampire Reign. It was an Xbox 360. Horrible, freaking horrible stealth game. But I love the plot of the story about a group of kind of like mercenaries trying to kill vampires and sneak around. I thought that was awesome, but just you would take 2 steps, the vampire would kill you instantly. All right, they could hear you, you're dead, and it was hard to play. So that's my game, Vampire Reign, 360.
Right on. How about you, Ryzak?
I think I'm gonna go with Shaq Fu.
Oh man!
Hey,
because it made no sense at all.
Jim.
Ouch!
It made no sense.
You know how excited my friends were to get that game? We put it in, and 3 minutes later, we were like, Street Fighter? I mean, it was
like in another dimension.
They made a comeback though. They did another version.
But I mean, think about his movies, like Kazam, like all of it. Like he's an interesting dude. So,
you just mentioned Kazam and something that's interesting. This is off retro topic completely, but there is a There's an old movie that was never made that people remember. They were Kazam has Shaq in it, right? Shazam is supposed to be a genie movie with
with Sinbad that doesn't exist.
Yes, with Sinbad, and it doesn't exist, and people think it's the I almost said Mandalorian effect. That's not what it is. The Mandela effect. If you don't know what that is, it's a different topic. Google Mandela effect, and you'll deep dive down a rabbit hole. Trust me. Very interesting stuff. All right, man.
What about Mikey? Did Mikey answer that one?
Oh yeah, Mikey.
No, Mikey did.
What was the question again? I'm sorry. Can you repeat the?
What was here? I'll bring it up again. What is one game that you absolutely loved the story and plot, but the game itself was horrible? Like you really enjoyed the premise or the characters, but the game itself fell apart for you.
I don't think there is one, because that's something for me that's very important. I don't care about graphics as much as the story and plot. If the story and plot is not good, I'm not playing the game. Period. Okay, it's hard. Maybe if I had to pick, maybe movies that come into games, like when it's translated over to a video game, they don't translate it as good in a video game. So I'm excited to play it. Oh, it's like, oh, I love the movie. I'm gonna play the video game. I'm like, no, what is this? This sucks. This didn't happen in the movie, or vice versa. They'll do
vice versa, like Mario Brothers.
The Michael Jackson game,
Moonwalker.
Moonwalker. Yeah, it wasn't anything like the movie.
It's a cool game though, man. That's a classic game.
But just going off of what Mikey said there, how it doesn't match up. So
right.
This person knows what's up. They're commenting about the Sinbad thing. Yeah, he did. He went along with the goof. One more question here, real quick, for Pam from Sierra Rose. What got you into doing makeup channel?
I just really like makeup. I watch my watched YouTube videos are sort of split between gaming content and makeup videos. And so I decided I would just make a channel where I could just play with makeup and be kind of chill. They're very simple. They're not scripted. I don't have to do fancy editing. I just sort of sit in the camera, do some makeup, and just thought it would be fun to do and give me a reason to use my collection more.
So unlike a video you have to edit and stuff, you can just hit the camera and go live. And
well, I still edit because I can't just do anything simply, but I don't have to script them or think too hard or prepare too much.
Right on. Yeah. I know editing can take an extremely long time and it's tedious. It's tedious stuff.
But there's no scrubbing through game footage looking for the exact right clip that you want to use.
Right.
True.
I think that's where my questions came from, is just knowing, how much time all of us put into the things we do. You got to have an emotional attachment to it, right? Like there's got to be something there that you enjoy doing a little bit more than the others. So kudos to both of you, because checking out your channels last night, just full disclosure, I did a little bit of research on both of you last night so that I was prepped for today. And you guys both, I mean, Mikey, you got a lot of cool stuff on there. You playing with your son, it speaks to me because I do a lot of gaming with my kid. That's why I even got into content creation in the first place. I know Jeff plays with his kids. I know Ray does too. I know William does, play.
Yeah, by myself, but I also take care of a middle-aged dog, and he's got an infection on his paw, so we've been soaking the dog's paw.
There's so many inside jokes going on today. This is great.
so many. I don't know.
I agree with Pam. Go digging through footage, trying to find that exact.
Yes.
And you remember doing it. I even write stuff down, but then to try to go back and go, okay, it was at the 8-minute mark, and trying to get back. Even though I wrote down, I got to do this clip, and even using Streamlabs, I hit the replay, and
What I hate is thinking you've got something amazing, and you go back and watch it and go, man, that wasn't as good as I thought that was going to be.
Yeah. So many times I'll be editing. Like I was just editing my Symphony of the Night video, and I was like, okay, I want to show me
Mm,
using
good
Dark
game.
Metamorphosis or one of the other spells, and I, scrubbing through, like, I can't find it. I just jump back on the game, cast it, recorded that, and just put that in the video because it's faster sometimes to just go get what you need exactly than
That was a great video.
try
I
to
watched
find it. Oh, thank you.
I also got to say I'm impressed with your wardrobe because I don't think you've worn the same thing in any of your videos, Pam. So you must have like a huge closet. of
He's
stuff.
really
Like,
doing some research there.
Yeah,
Ryzek,
William
Lord.
told me I needed to, so I did, man. I like to put time and effort into understanding who the guests are when I can actually show up for the show.
Well, I didn't know of you guys before Jeff introduced me to your content and stuff like that. And I have to say, I really love both of your guys' passion. And it was fantastic of you guys coming on today. Jeff has some awesome This Week in Retro Gaming we're about to bring up. We're going to look at, what is it, from October 17th all the way to October 26th.
This is the highlight of Jeff's week right here. This is
Heck
where
yeah.
he shines.
All right, so here we go, Jeff. We're going to go ahead and start your This Week in Retro. Take it away.
All righty then. So what do we have first?
Are you cold? We could put the furnace up.
No, I'm okay. No, I'm
Number
okay.
one.
Sorry.
Hi, Mom.
Sorry.
Oh.
So for those of you who don't know, I am actually at my mother's, and if you
Mhm.
watched our show the other night, they both made a guest appearance. So I apologize because she only talks to me when I actually turn the mic on. Sometimes she talks to me is when I'm, or in the olden days when I would be on the phone. That's the only time she talked to. Otherwise, she just sits there all nice and quiet. And as soon as the mic goes live, is when she starts talking.
In her incredibly awesome rocking chair.
She is
Yes.
in. She is in the incredibly
Yes.
awesome. She is in the incredibly awesome.
Hello.
That
Awesome.
looks
They
very
she
comfy.
can't hear you, but sorry. Yes, I've been playing Devil May Cry 3 on my Retro Friday nights, but of course October 17th, 2001, Devil May Cry the original came out, which some people say is the best. Others say if you played one, you've played them all. I don't know. Ray, do you have an opinion on DMC?
Now, I believe it or not, man, I've never really played it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So yeah,
All right.
They're pretty similar, but there's a bunch of mechanics that change through the versions. But the gunplay and swordplay has always been linked.
Yep.
Like, but I enjoyed Devil May Cry. I'd never made it to the third one. The one you're playing now, I haven't played.
Yeah. I often will find really ancient, like I've thrown stuff from Linux, Macintosh, the old Altair. So this, 1975 Dodgem came out, was text-based back then, and then
wow.
and then it got older. So just to remind people that
Hold
there
on.
were games on the mainframe. Oh, there's Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Devil May Cry. But yeah, there
like-
is a
And like we
again.
always say, don't look at the polygons and the anti-aliasing with today's eyes. You got to look at it from those eyes because this was beautiful when it first came out.
Heck yeah.
Even
Go
three,
ahead.
even 3 on my PlayStation 2 is still looking,
Yeah,
still looking
my
pretty
friend,
good.
I got some friends that are some like huge fanatics.
Well, the story for the Devil May Cry is fantastic. Anytime you take somebody named Dante and send him to hell, man, how can you argue with that?
Yeah. So I find some old. My brother is older than me. He made a small appearance on the Messman the other night, but he used to play. Pam, I grew up in Hamilton, so both my brothers went to McMaster. So he used to go down and play on the mainframes, and so he used to have to babysit me. So I used to go down when I was 5 or 6 in the 70s with him as he was doing stuff, and I would play some of these games on the mainframe, the old VAX mainframes, and some of the others.
Now, this is not off of the mainframe. This is
No.
the arcade version of Dodgem that probably came out in the early 80s.
Yeah.
But this is the only version of it that I could find to show you.
That's the 1979 version, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, this one is?
could be.
Yeah.
Could
Yeah.
be.
So cool.
But that was great back then, and even there was also a Star Trek text-based game where you had to type in, you'd say warp, and it would go, what factor do you put in 5, and then you'd say, where do you want to go, and you put in your, it was all text-based. So there was a lot of cool stuff back in the 70s and early 80s. That were really that really got us going.
Question for Mikey real quick. Did you ever figure out what that game was and is it playable? The one from Big. with the wizard and stuff. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That actually, they did that for the movie. They only did
Oh.
that for the movie, and they never actually. That was just for the movie because I actually was looking into that a lot to actually figure out if that was an actual game.
Yeah, because it looked
So-
amazing for the time.
Yeah, it did, and I was like, "All right, what is this game? I want to play it." They actually had a little, I think it was like a JavaScript program where you could play it, and as soon as you did it, it would just react that scene, but it wasn't actually a game. So,
Right on.
a shame.
The closest game to that I've ever played is like Zork, but it was still
Yes.
you were moving up to the mailbox, and then you had to give a command on what you were doing.
I played some Zork.
But so that's dodging right there.
Am I the only one that when on a TV or movie pauses it when they have something on the screen, whether it's code or something, and then goes up and looks at it to see what it is? Am I the only nerd that does that, or
Did you
Okay,
say you're a
yes,
nerd?
I guess I am. Yeah, I guess I am. I think
wrong
I,
with that,
Shout,
so.
Cool
I
Breeze.
think
So, Cool
most
Breeze.
people, who've been on the show, and especially the host, are big Tony Hawk fans. So 2005, Tony Hawk, American Wasteland. This I put in the collector's edition, but there was a non-collector's edition on every platform you could think of that was out at that era. This game came out for.
I love Tony Hawk, the original. I played so many hundreds of hours in that game, and
Love
I
the
played
sound. Love the
every
soundtrack.
single one of them except Wasteland. I think. I
I
done
found the one
playing
that you
by
didn't
then.
play.
Yeah, I do believe so. But if it handled anything like the other ones, I would have loved it. Matter of fact, on Stadia, there's a game, Wave Break. Yeah, Wave Break, and the how you take your stick and go up and down to do like a manual or whatever. It's all very similar. And just I don't know, man. It just punches you right in the face with nostalgia. I wish these Tony Hawk games were out on Stadia. I'd buy the remakes of 1 and 2 or whatever they are.
Yep. And then Skate came out. So
Skate, yeah, that was a decent one as well.
yeah.
That's the one where you had to grind carefully or whatever. It was more simulation, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they put some more, I think, professional skaters in that. It was more set up to do like they would do like the magazine cover shoot. You know, you'd have to like jump off the ramp and stuff. So
My son loved Skate and all. Skate 2, Skate 3. I think there was.
I think Skate 3 is Ray may know. Skate 3 is on Game Pass, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now see, this reminds me, like back in the 80s, I had my big fat skateboard with
There's
the
all of us
graphics.
right there.
You skateboarded too, Ray?
Yeah, he's in the
Sure,
middle. Look.
I was in the
Break
80s.
danced. He
80s.
skateboarded.
I didn't. Now Jeff had those shorts. I didn't. But,
But did you have the hair? Did you have the big 80s fro back in the day, Ray?
dude, I had the high top fade. I had the box
Ray had the
you had that
Jankos
in
that
the
were,
late
hanging
80s,
off
going
the
into
butt.
the 90s.
Like Kid from Kid and Play?
Yeah. So if you fell off the bike or the skateboard, you could bounce off your hair, dude.
Yeah.
At one point in time, he was 6'1".
Right? Now he's 5'11".
That's generous.
Pam, did you ever play any of these skate games? Was that sports games in general? Was that a genre you liked?
No, the only sports games I played were RBI baseball on the NES and
I played the
NFL,
heck out of RBI.
ESPN NFL 2K4. Those were my two sports games and racing games. But
What was your favorite racing game?
Gran Turismo.
Yes.
Classic.
Right on.
Classic game. Good game.
Yeah.
I am in the minority here. I never liked Gran Turismo because the replays looked better than the driving. And I was like, what? Anyway, that was just my opinion, which is probably
It was just
not
cool
a
to be able to
popular
like upgrade your car. Like it got really in depth, you know, with the upgrades, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, it's just super cool to take a Mazda Miata and like
Dude,
put an intake on it. Like it's cool.
back then, those graphics on Gran Turismo was amazing. Like, just blew me away with the cars.
I've already told you when the new one comes out, I'll get my PS5. So
when it comes
that's
to
what
car
will get
racing,
that's what will get me to buy it.
I would say Need for Speed, Underground, and the
Most
Hot
Wanted.
Pursuit.
Hot
Running
pursuits.
from
Hot
the cops.
pursuits.
Burnout.
Yeah.
Most wanted.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
if I
I
want to
think,
go even more old school, some Road Rash, drive up alongside
There
of
you go.
somebody and club them with a club,
Yeah.
take their bike.
Mike, do you
Love
ever
that
play
game.
any sports games?
Madden. Madden, NHL hockey. I love NHL '94.
Mhm.
I love the Genesis hockey, sports games.
Mhm.
Genesis sports games. Because I played them with my friends.
Mhm.
You know, we would go over and have
Mhm.
John Madden night, and just me and my buddy, and we played them for hours and hours and hours. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop using that same play on me, man. Come on, stop cheating. Throw a Hail Mary, and
That's
or
like a
they'll use
Tecmo Super Bowl and somebody using
Tecmo
the
Super Bowl.
Raiders.
Fantastic.
I was talking
I
about
love that.
hockey games the other day, just that original ice hockey game on the NES. Where
Mm-hmm.
you had like the big guy, you had like the tall skinny guy, and then you just had the regular guy.
I gotta
Then
get
you-
this one. I gotta get this one.
Then you moved into
he's going-
Blades of Steel.
Hold on, show us your. Hey, is that graded, Ray? Holy shit! Is that $1 million one?
Dude, let me tell you something. On my if somebody give me $1 million for this, it's sold.
And you might even give them the game with it too.
Sierra Rose asked,
Ooh.
"Did anybody
Oh yes, sir.
With
Dirt
the
to
big
Daytona.
box. With the big box.
Mike, are
hold
you a
on, so what
hockey
you got-
fan?
What you got
I
there,
am a
Mikey?
hockey fan, but
Hold that back up. Hold that
and
back up.
this-
There you go.
when this came out,
Woo.
I was like, "Oh my god, this is the best graphics I ever seen!" And now
Yes.
they're up to like NHL, and it's a shame because NHL Face Off they don't have anymore. They
Nope.
stopped making this. They stopped making this series, and I
EA
thought
took
this was
over.
a fantastic hockey game, and probably still one of my favorite hockey games outside of the NHLs for Genesis.
Is that
um,
Eiserman on the cover?
I forget who's on the cover.
They did
I
such
can't
a good
figure it out.
job on the character animations in that
Yeah.
game.
Could have
Yeah, it
been.
was great. It was great, fantastic. Loved it.
Me and my friend, may he rest in peace. We used to fight just playing. We would cut the game off and do our own, pretending that we were fighting in the ice rink. But yeah, awesome.
Well, again,
game.
Did you pull his
thinking about
jersey
what
up
you
over his
guys-
head and give him what for, Ray?
Yeah.
Thinking about what you guys always say about looking through the lens of the time. I mean, Ray, you posted that clip the other day of NHL 22 on your PS5, and just it's like incredible, right? I could go back and I could play that ice hockey game, or I could go back and play NHL 94 and still enjoy it like I was playing
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, though, from that generation all the way till now, not so much then, but a lot now. You can walk past the TV, look, and go, "Oh, who's playing?" and not even realize it's a game.
Yep.
Unless you sit down and pay. Oh, that helmet isn't real. Yeah, it's
But
amazing, man, what they're able to do.
Even back
especially with-
then, we were excited to play with those different players.
Mhm.
They were wow, I get to actually play my
Yep.
favorite player, my favorite team.
Yep.
I'm not going
I-
to put Pam on the spot of asking her about hockey. We wouldn't want her citizenship revoked or anything. So if
Oh,
she was not a fan, so
Ouch.
Canada takes hockey pretty serious, I guess. Then.
Just like
Mikey, you had said earlier.
unfortunately, we both live near Toronto, who hasn't
Yeah.
won since before any of you were born. So
Hey, they won last night.
Yeah.
hey, I love the logo and I love the uniform. So I think they got some really cool.
Won
Toronto's
last
got
night
some
without
good
Matthews.
Yes.
Mikey, you said earlier your favorite genre is RPG. What is your favorite RPG?
Final Fantasy 2 for Super
Is that the
Nintendo,
one,
But it's not my favorite. Final Fantasy, although is definitely I love Final Fantasy, but my favorite series though is Dragon Quest.
Okay.
Dragon Quest series, I feel that it's superior to Final Fantasy. I know a lot of people may disagree with that, but I love the Dragon Quest stories.
Have you played the
Um,
newest one?
11, yes, I spent over 100 and somewhat 140 hours in it.
Impressive.
And I bought the collector's edition for PlayStation 4 when it first came out, and then I'm like, of course, Square comes out with special edition, definitive edition for Nintendo Switch. So had to go out and get that because it had all the extras and
Yeah.
played in 8-bit and all the extra stuff in it. So I went out and played that. And I actually recently played because a lot of the fans were translating the MMO, Dragon Quest X, which we never got here in the US. And
That's what
I
gets
played
me
the
about-
MMO and got up to like level 60, 65, and they were doing such a great, and I'm very excited to get like Dragon Quest 3 remaking like the Octopath Traveler style. So
Well, the
I'm
number,
hoping that,
the,
I'm
the
hoping
number
that's good.
system they used for over there, and then it changed what game it is here. Really messed me up. So is Final Fantasy 2, the one that you're saying is one of your favorites, is that where you start off in the little mechs? Or is that
You start off as
Kefka's in it as a villain or something? Or?
that's 6, also known as 3.
Okay,
so
I
Final
get those
Fantasy 2 is known as
Oh,
Final Fantasy
Star Wars
4.
numbering. Cool.
Yeah, it's worse than that. Episode 4 would be in Japan. It'd be 3 here. Like
it's something like that. Something like that. But yeah, it's definitely my favorite. The story is Final Fantasy 2. Well, 4 is the one with Cecil or Cecil, as you know how you pronounce
Cecil.
it.
Yep.
And the Red Wings and the guard. He's got to go. So yeah, that was definitely my my favorite RPG.
Pam, do I even need to ask you what your favorite RPG is?
Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh wow, okay, that was not what I was expecting you to say. So that's awesome.
Good game. Love that game.
I still have
You
the
ever-
box. I have the
Yeah.
actual box of that one. I love
I
that.
have
You
the
ever
box
play
too.
as the Nosferatu,
No,
where you have to be in the sewer?
no, I never wanted to avoid the conversations. I was always a Malkavian was my favorite, but
Right on.
Yeah.
We're actually I have a table that gets together every other. This Sunday I got Retro Rewind. Next Sunday we get together about 6 or 7 of us and we do D&D, and that we're playing Vampire right now. So that's amazing.
No, I only ask because I've said many times on here that WoW is the greatest game ever made, although it's the most addictive game ever made. So when you said that, that's how you got your name, of course, my antennas perked up. It's like, uh-oh, here we go.
no,
She's going to say that. Nope, you totally went another direction.
That
no.
game just opens up and swallows time.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
I just pretend it doesn't exist now because it got to the point where it was more of a job for me than a
You
game.
literally have a job in the game. Like,
Yeah. And I was at the end of my run, like I was the guild master, and
Awesome.
it was just too much. Like,
Had a lot of irons in the fires.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jeff, what
All
else?
right.
What other games do you have on your list? I know I cut your list out.
It's back.
You're
Oh, no,
muted.
it's not back up. I'm looking at it. You
your
guys.
mom
are
Okay, here we
there.
go. There we go. So we discovered a few weeks ago when we had some of our UK friends on that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was called something else over there,
Mhm.
but it's escaping me at the moment.
it wasn't
yes.
Ninja, it was
Yep.
Something
Hero.
Turtles. Hero.
Hero.
or
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Hero
Yeah.
Turtles. Yeah.
Yeah. So I threw this on there just because it comes up quite a lot.
Mhm.
Well, a lot of these games are fantastic, especially in the arcade. A lot of people have a lot of fond memories of these.
And we were all a lot younger back then, so
Yes.
we were okay playing, these
mean-
kind of games. We may not play or be interested in them now, and like Mikey, our kids, are playing some of these games and things like that, right?
It
Or
was Saturday
watching- or
morning
watch-
cartoons.
Or
Yeah.
watching the cartoons or
Cartoons.
doing something, right? So
Yeah,
there you
man.
go.
Awesome. Can't believe that came out in 2004.
No doubt, man. Looking at some of these years, man, it just boggles my mind.
I never played
It
this
really
one.
does. They're just going to either they just come out or it's about to come out. They've got a new version of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up style game coming out, if I'm not mistaken. And you can play as April O'Neil or something.
Yes. I heard
Yeah.
about that. It's great.
they
Mhm.
really did the Turtles beat 'em up a lot.
Yes, yes, they did.
There's so many of these.
There are, and there's even a couple that are like Street Fighter that are just fighting and no side scrolling. Yeah, they did a lot
Mhm.
with the Turtles.
And they took that Simpsons game from it too. So
Mhm.
See, they did the what is it? DC Universe. They put a turtle in that game. He was a extra character. The Turtles.
which one was it?
The new fighting, the new one, the new
Oh, the one
Yeah,
that just come out.
Yep.
the DC fighting game with all the different superheroes and super
Yeah,
villains. Those are extra characters.
Injustice.
And just there you go.
Injustice.
Nice.
Yeah, they had the
That was
turtles.
good. That was fun.
I think CTR might be my favorite Crash game.
Really?
I
What
don't know.
makes that your favorite, Jeff?
I
It's
don't know
funny.
because I don't know. I think just because it's I don't know because I don't know. I think this might be my favorite of all of. Maybe it's because I played it. I'm not sure. I played it on my retro streams and Yeah, I think this is probably one of my favorite.
Yeah, Mario Kart or F-Zero for me. I don't think I ever played this one.
I picked the remake up for the Switch because I was like, all right, I have Mario Kart 8. I tried the Sonic one, which was good, so I picked this up for the Switch, and this was
again at this time. This was amazing. You know,
Yeah.
Like,
who doesn't like Crash Bandicoot?
I don't, but it's okay.
Well, like we always praise when it comes to the Nintendo 64 is they had 4 game ports right in the front. When you bought that thing or looked at it, it said, hey, where are your friends? You know, multiplayer was at its infancy almost at this time.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Neocortex.
It's true.
Interesting.
I like how all the villains all had these advanced degrees. They were all, they all went to, med school or something. They all had these advanced degrees. It was
Doofenshmirtz.
You think they would be better screening. Maybe they didn't have as good a screening back in the day about screening out these villains in when they were going in med school and getting their. Or is that just me? All right, never mind.
There's no background checks in video games.
who was the Hanna-Barbera character that was like the evil dude that had the dog, the dastardly dog?
And he's got
I feel like all the villains are modeled after him.
Yeah.
I'm not at home, but I have a nice Doofenshmirtz in box. I liked him. I always liked him. Metal Gear Solid. I've played this on my retro streams. It's a classic of all the.
Yes,
I think everybody loves. Who doesn't love Pam?
Very beloved game. Snake.
Snake.
Yeah.
Pam, did you ever play any of these?
No, I haven't played any of them.
Okay.
I feel like I've missed the zeitgeist now, so I've just given up on it.
Well, the good news is they're retro, so you can go back and play them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, this one. Was this the PS2 or the PS1?
It was the PS1.
He just does so many games, Kojima.
Yeah, man.
So many
still killing it.
masterpieces, dude.
Matter of fact, Dre in the chat was just saying that he was playing the walking simulator he made.
Wow.
Death Stranding. Yeah.
I'm excited.
I haven't played that game either, though, but I've seen people play it.
I played it. Pretty
but
good.
This is a classic here.
Yep.
Love this game.
Yep. The only Metal Gear I missed was the original on the NES, which I went back and checked out. But I think Part 2 was my favorite though on the PS2. Sons of Liberty, I think it was called.
Right.
That one was super, super fun. And there was a couple things in this game. Didn't you have to? I forget, but there's a special way you had to beat the game or beat a villain in the game.
Man, cool polygon graphics.
Yeah, absolutely.
October 23rd, 2001, Grand Theft Auto III came out for the place down. It's going to be remastered in I. That's a running joke my kids have when we see football players and they have they have the number on the back. It's like, ooh, it's IV. So that's a running joke my kids and I have. Not that they're here or paying attention.
No, was Grand Theft Auto 3? No, it wasn't. What was the first game to go from their top-down view to? Was that just Grand Theft Auto?
Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 was top downs, and then three is when they switched it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I was not clear on that.
Which
anybody interested in the remakes they're going to come out with?
I'll definitely play them. I'll play the remakes.
I'll tell you what, Jeff. I hope they're extremely successful so that we get a remake of Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, hopefully remade inside of 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I may play this maybe in the new year. I'll play this on my retro stream because we have 3 and 4 and obviously 5 at home.
Sadly, hold on just a second, Jeff. Sadly, Ryzak has to dip. He's got some stuff to do. So Ryzak, go ahead and let us know what you'll be up to, sir.
So sorry, guys. It sucks being an adult and having to be job responsibilities, but it was a pleasure getting to talk with both of you. I've subscribed and followed both of you. I can't wait to see more of your content. just thank you guys for coming on and talking with us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone except for Jeff, because he's wearing an ugly ass jersey. But
well, we appreciate you, Isaac.
Yeah, I hope to see you all
Nobody
soon enough, and enjoy the rest of the show, please. I'm so sorry, guys.
No problem.
Bye.
Thanks for
All
popping
right.
in.
Take care. Thank you all.
All right, check your mom later.
Sierra Rose says Grand Theft Auto 3 is legit her favorite out of all of them. Okay.
Yeah, it was a really good game, especially going from the top down. My buddy loved the top down, and I didn't get it. I didn't get it at the time. And then
Favorite car was the Banshee. Love that car.
I think Sierra Rose, actually, she memorized and still knows the cheats on the controller, so she can get the flying car and the grenade launcher or whatever right away. Yep. She's not a big gamer, but there's a few games that she did dive into. Tony Hawk was one. This is another. Pretty cool, man. All right, let's go back to
what do we got? What do we got next? I only did this a few hours ago. You'd think I would remember. Quake 3. I think we're all Quake fans.
No. We're on Troll, sir.
Oh, I missed that one. I did that. I put that in for Ray. Ray likes to call me a troll.
Yes, I thought so. So we just did Metal Gear Solid and then Troll, Windows version only.
Oh,
now, this is
I skipped. Yeah. All right.
This is all I could find on Troll. And I do think it's the correct one, but it's version 1.1.
Ooh, it's shareware.
Nice.
Oh, I like that. Shareware.
I miss those shareware discs. Just buy
Sure
them
did.
with 100 games on
I
them.
have
See
a-
what you like.
Gotta.
Nice.
Absolutely, man. Especially demo discs. I used to love getting the magazines to try to play games that were coming out soon.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, I see. It's kind of like a Command and Conquer a little bit.
I didn't remember what it was. I just liked the name. And I put that in for.
Well, moving on.
All right. And then in the UK, for our UCAN viewers and people that are in the chat, because I think there's a couple of them, I'm not sure. X-Men Legends. So many different versions all over the UK. So whether you were in Germany or wherever, I just put UK, but that's just all over there, non-North America. They had it for every sort of console. Did I forget a year? No, I forgot a year. Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Man,
there is no year on there.
oh, man, do I suck. All right. Well, whatever.
Now we're at Quake, sir.
There we go. Quake 3. I think we all love Quake 3 and especially on the Dreamcast.
Yes, this is a gameplay from the Dreamcast. Great shout out to Dreamcast. Was a underrated system, man. I wished it would have had a longer lifespan, gotten more titles, because I certainly loved it. Looking at the graphics and the colors from Ready to Rumble, it just was astounding. I loved the Dreamcast, but I loved Quake as well. But most people that I knew that played Quake would play it on PC, and they'd have the LAN parties and stuff. So I wasn't a big console Quake player. How about you guys?
He kind of looks like Duke Nukem there, which is
He
my
did.
all-time favorite, as people know.
He did,
But
just like Duke.
Mikey, did you ever play do any of the Quake LAN parties, lugging PCs around? Did you ever do?
I wasn't really into them. I played them more recently now, like the new Doom and stuff like that. I really didn't play many of it. I do actually have a Dreamcast now that I'm looking at this. I might have to check this out again and revisit it.
Yeah, I liked using the rocket launcher as a propellant to push you up in the air. You jumped and like shot down, and it would like rocket you up in the air. I think I'm remembering that correctly. It's been a long time. But yeah, good old Quake 3. You ever play Quake, Pam?
Nope.
No Quake.
Mm-mm.
It's kind of like well, I'll put it this way. It's not kind of like it, but it was this and a couple other games that had multiplayer, but GoldenEye always took the cake. I mean, if we had a choice, we were playing GoldenEye for sure. Golden Guns, one-shot kills. It was amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff.
And we talked a little bit about the Neo Geo earlier. I think it's Williams. It's your favorite one of all time.
Neo Geo, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if money didn't matter, I would buy me a Neo Geo with a whole bunch of cartridges, and I'd get the modified one for the HDMI out. on the back. But I feel a lot like this. If you can't afford the hardware and you still want to play, emulate. I mean, it's simple, it's easy, it's convenient, and you still get to enjoy it. Let's see here. Try to get to the actual game here. There we go. There's some baseball.
Wow, that's cool looking.
Oh, that looks nice.
Very colorful. I loved all the Neo Geo arcade games. Just the looks of them anyway. Especially Metal Slug. So much cool stuff going on in the background and animations, and loved Metal Slug.
Oh, way outside, but he swung for it.
There was a new Neo Geo cartridge just released recently for Xenocrisis. Because they had put it out on Genesis as a cart, and then I think they just put it out on Neo Geo as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I know some people get the they emulate. I mean, they may have a Neo Geo, but they'll have a cartridge with an SD slot in it. You know what I mean? To check out all of them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yep, if I was going to start collecting and I had plenty of money, I think I would collect some Neo Geo.
And then this one I put in for our friend at the bottom of the screen. Well, at least he's on the bottom of my screen. I don't know for everybody else. But 2004 Metroid, the classic NES series for the Game Boy Advanced.
Wow.
2004. How's that make you feel, Mikey?
I'm old. Probably.
It certainly makes you feel old, man. I didn't bring up the Game Boy version because we slightly talked about it at the beginning. But the development for this game is extremely interesting if you Google it and check it out. The way they designed the game all the way to out of the box fixes for stuff that ended up as a mechanic in the game, like freezing the enemy with the freeze ray. Extremely cool. But like Mikey said, it is extremely hard to know where you're going, especially if you've taken a break for a few years and come back.
I just like turning it into a ball and just rolling underneath stuff. That's what I like.
Absolutely, man. And a lot of these things were built for you as a player to figure out on your own. Like the only time they hold your hand is in this very first stage. If you go to the right, you end up at a spot you can't continue. You have to go back the other way, collect that orb upgrade, and then you can continue your journey. So they kind of, it's like an education level without them holding your hand. It's just remarkable. Nowadays, they tell you absolutely what button to hit, what direction to be facing, and what you should be expecting. You know, awesome game. Had a lot of fun with this one. But it was confusing.
Oh, I hated those things that flew down and came and got you. God, I hated those things.
Yeah, they speed up.
Yeah.
There you go.
All the
I
codes
really
in this
enjoyed
game, too.
Metroid.
So many codes.
Yeah.
Justin Bailey.
Yes. Justin Bailey, that would start your you could play with her helmet off, correct? Is that what that code did?
She would be in a swimsuit. Or
Yeah,
she
it
would
took
have
her
to be
suit
full-
off. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
full suit off. Yeah, Justin Bailey. There was a bunch of them, and also as when depending on how long you beat the game would give you a different ending as well. If you
right
beat
on.
it in less than an hour, she would be in a swimsuit. In 3 hours, helmet off. They had different variations on the ending. It was pretty
Right
cool.
on. Yeah, I really enjoyed games like this, like Zelda, like Metroid, Blaster Master, where they don't really explain a lot of stuff to you. You got to figure it out on your own. Now, those games also infuriated me when I was a kid. I had to, I had to grow up a little bit and revisit them and go, oh, geez, I just didn't understand that, But yeah, this is one of my favorite games. Now, Mikey, you've been playing the new Metroid. How has the Metroid story changed since the original release of this one or whatever?
You don't find out what's going on until later on in the story in the new one. So it's kind of like what's going on. You don't know until later on. So I don't want to spoil it too much.
Okay.
But when you do find out what's going on, you're like, it definitely can relate to some of the older games.
Okay. Oh, I know. In this one, you're just supposed to kill Mother Brain, and then in the other ones, you ended up like getting a little companion or a Metroid that was on your side or something, and there's DNA involved. I don't know. The story got wild. But yeah, I love the character, and it's one of the first characters ever that most protagonists play through the game thinking they're a male, and at the end of the game, she takes her helmet off, and she's a kick-ass female. You know, I think that's phenomenal as well. He's gonna die. I love this game. So much exploring, man. Any game that you can, explore for hours and stuff, and try to figure out new techniques. I just love stuff like that. All righty. Boom. Okay, so hey, I have a question for Pam and Mikey. Starting with you, Pam. What got you into making content to start with?
So when I started making content, it was about World of Warcraft, and it was just I wanted to tell people how to play the game because a lot of people were just bad at it, specifically people in my guild who I was playing with. So it's like a passive aggressive way of like, look, I made this blog, you should read it and have tips on like use your damage reduction abilities, don't stand in fire, dummies. So it started out basically like that, and then I just sort of kept going, eventually started like writing guides and some theory crafting and stuff. I eventually got hired to write a guide for the Wowhead site on Druids, and then I lost my interest in World of Warcraft and started just writing about whatever other video games I was playing at the time. And so it just started like that, and I feel like I've always been a bit behind in the particular medium. Like while I was blogging, everyone had moved to video, but it still took me a few years to get there. And then I started making video, and then everyone was streaming, and it just like, no, definitely don't want to stream. And just started that this year. So just
right on. Yeah, it's interesting how things change and stuff like that. And it can give you a little anxiety when you feel like you're behind a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're trying to catch up, and but everything takes time.
For those that are watching or catching up at home after the podcast, where do you guys stream mostly? Pam?
On Twitch.
On Twitch?
Yep.
Mikey?
I've been actually I started with Twitch, but recently I also been streaming on TikTok, and I found that there's a huge retro community on TikTok. And as soon as I go live on there, there's people that just jump in and start watching. Unfortunately, they don't have the capabilities as Twitch, the utilities, I should say,
not yet.
that they offer, stream key, and you have, alerts that pop up and stuff like that. They don't have the utilities, but the community on there for retro, I found to be extremely friendly, and a lot of people like, hey, what is this game? They're very active. So I find a lot more interaction on there. So I've been streaming on there. I do still stream on Twitch, but I do enjoy streaming on TikTok as well.
And I'd like to let everybody know that's watching this right now, in the description below, both of their YouTube channels are there. I believe you can get to Pam's Twitch from her YouTube channel. Is it listed there?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it is.
I think Pam has a link tree that might have everything. I'm not sure.
Awesome. But I made sure to put your guys' contact stuff down there so people could find you. So what got you started, Mikey, in making content?
I wanted to I saw other people doing it, and I'm like, I could do this. This seems fun, and I really just wanted to share my experiences. But I started doing a lot of the newer stuff, new gen stuff, because I saw, okay, well, this is, I'll get more interaction. I'll get more people to join in. I felt that was what I needed to do. And then I changed just recently. I just, I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying. I want to do what my passion is, and I found my passion is, and I feel what everybody says you need to have a niche, a sort of a niche, and I found that retro gaming for me is really what I enjoy. I love talking about it. I know, the genres of the generations of the games, and I feel comfortable talking about the games and what I enjoy, and that's so I went to doing mostly retro. It's not that I won't play any new gen stuff because I do love it, but focus more on retro, which is what I really am passionate about right now.
Yeah, I find it. I love my new games and everything, and I do put a lot of time in gaming. But nothing beats just jumping into a quick game of Mike Tyson's Punch Out or Paperboy, or it's real quick to get in, and I don't know, man. It's nostalgia. You can sell it all day long, but it's hard to say exactly what it is. Oh man. We've had a great show today. Thank you guys both for joining us. Jeff, is there anything else you would like to discuss, sir, before I have them explain where people can find them and what they're going to be up to in the future? Oh, you are muted, sir. Again.
Oh yes, I know. I have to keep muting because of background noise and other noise. I can't think of anything. Question for both of you, how big is your collections, or would you call it a collection, or like what,
yes, we didn't discuss this.
Yeah. Describe some of the stuff behind you. Like I can't make, Mikey's all kind of fuzzed out. But he alluded to earlier, we did a tech test earlier. He kind of alluded to some stuff behind him. And so what, talk about your collection, if you call it a collection. Like you can see Ray's, I guess Ray's a hoarder. He's got all sorts of stuff, back there.
Hey, it's all good stuff, Jeff. It's not a half
and look behind William. Like look at that wall that William's got.
You're at your mama's house, so be quiet.
I literally am at my mama's house. Yes. No, anyways, yes. You guys, do you call it a collection, or Pam? You go first.
Sure. Yeah, I call it a collection. I have about 300 games.
Oh wow.
With both retro and modern. That doesn't include my PC big box. So it's a little far away, but like the bookshelf right behind me has 2 shelves of PC big boxes, mostly things that I had as a kid that I just wanted to have back. And then the smaller bookshelf that way has my NES, PS1, PS2, Xbox 360, and my Switch games. And then I've got my newer Xbox games in the bedroom. So yeah, it's a bit of a collection, and mostly just the consoles that I've played through the years.
Now you game from sort of all over. Like Ray has the same spot that he games from, and I think William SPG does. Usually when I'm at home, you can see where I'm gaming from. But you sort of game from different, right? When I've watched some of your videos and stuff, you kind of game from different places, right?
Yeah, for sure. So sometimes I'm on my PC gaming. I've got my big TV behind me where I have my Xbox Series X and 1 Switch dock and a 360 set up. And then the little TV has my retro systems. And then I have another Xbox and another Switch dock in the bedroom. So yeah, games everywhere.
That's awesome. Mikey?
Yeah. I brought up his photographs here.
Oh, this is Mikey?
I figured just in case you guys did ask, because I don't have it in my view. Yeah, I do consider it a small collection, about 760, 770 physical stuff, not digital. I don't have my Atari included in the collection, but this is some of my stuff here. That's the consoles that I have.
Nice.
Currently hooked up to an 8-port Switch.
Master Systems, the Cube, Super Nintendo, Dreamcast. He's got the
64.
Sega CD, folks.
Yeah, I actually got that in a barter. Actually, I did a modification for somebody, and they offered me to take a CD. I was like, yes, please.
Yes.
Took that. I
Awesome.
took that, and then this is more of the older stuff, Nintendo and Super Nintendo.
You got the minis I see too.
Yeah, I think the minis are great. The classics,
I agree.
I have
I
all
agree.
of them, including the TurboGrafx 16 mini.
Ooh.
I think they're all fantastic and stuff like that.
Oh,
So that's just
Dr.
retro
Spaceman. Dr. Spaceman says he spies Lunar Silver Star Story.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah, he loves that
both of
too.
those. Yeah, where they?
I swear that's the most commented on game. That's the one game I was like, "Hey, I see Lunar on your shelves."
Yeah.
Like, people love to point that one out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because even on talk, like when and I show it on TikTok a lot when I do my videos. It's behind me. It's like, oh, you got Lunar?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Lunar or Octolad. They'll spot
Wow.
that immediately, but 90% of the time or 95% of the time, it's always Lunar.
Look, he's got
For
the
sure.
small PS1. You know, there was one big one and then there was one small one. I gave mine to my baby brother, and I kept my big one, and I gave the small one to my baby brother. But I've missed that
What?
PS1.
What Xbox, Ray, do you do your emulation on?
I have the original Xbox, which, oh my God, that thing was so hacked. You know, I went to a toy convention and the guy sold it to me for like, I think $45, and it was packed with Neo Geo, PlayStation, all kinds of games. It's actually sitting next to my retro TV with my retro stuff in the corner, which my wife has been telling me to move, and I will not, because I got to have a retro corner to play my retro stuff.
I was just showing off that speaking of the Xbox, because you mentioned it, I was like, I didn't. It has arcades built into it. Mine's modified as well. And I
Yeah,
was actually looking at some YouTube videos recently to update it, and because I was really feeling the arcades again, and I want to update it to the newer stuff. And somebody was telling me like you get 14,000 games on it, so I'm looking to update it. And I was actually playing like Battletoads the arcade and
yeah.
Double Dragon. I'm like, it's such a great emulated system.
Okay.
Neo Geo is what I play on it a lot of.
Nice.
Yeah, it's an emulation powerhouse, isn't it, Ray? From the sounds of it, the original Xbox with the emulation going on,
Yes,
it plays
it
them
is.
great.
Yeah,
I need to snatch me up one of them or find one. I've been looking on eBay because I have a PC and I also have a NVIDIA Shield
Yeah.
TV, but I'd like to have just one unit that would have everything. That sounds amazing to me. And we have one more question from the audience before we say our goodbyes here. How long have you all been collecting? And then how long did it take to build the collection you have now?
I've been collecting for 7 or 8 years. I had kept my original NES and my original NES games so long, and then I sold them. And then, like, literally 2 years later, I started collecting.
God,
You
Yeah.
figured out it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. How about you, Mikey?
Since I started playing, literally, I just
Some have
whenever
been
I went
with you the whole
and-
time.
yeah, I just kept everything. I never sold anything or traded anything. I would just keep it, and then I put it in storage. I'll get a new system, I'll put it in storage. It's like, oh, and then I just decided I wanted to display everything and play them again, and so I guess you could say over 20 years or so more, since Nintendo and stuff. I did add stuff as time went by because either I lost the games or I left them with my family and they threw it out for some reason. I'm like, that was the worst.
Yeah.
So having to pick up the stuff again, but I would say it's since I started gaming probably, because I never threw anything out.
Right on. Before we go, Ray, is there anything else you'd like to add, sir?
I just wanted to add that as far as collecting, oh my God, I think I started collecting in the 90s, early 90s. And I sold my Sega Saturn, eventually went back and got it, sold the Dreamcast, went back and got it. And now I'm look, hopefully my holy grail is the Neo Geo. I mean, I would love to just have that in my collection, is the Neo Geo. So
now your best friend has a 3DO, but you don't. Is that correct?
No, yeah, and that's another thing I would love. I would love the 3DO because the 90s, man, the TurboGrafx 16, the 3DO, those were some crazy consoles that came out during the 90s. And that was my like when I had my apartment and I started collecting. And those ones I would just look in the window and like, man, I really want this, but I don't have $500 or $600 to put on a Neo Geo or whatever. And I'm also looking for a TurboGrafx 16. I'm looking for that one as well.
I want to play some Bonk's Adventure, man.
I've
never
Bonk's
had a Turbo.
Adventures. Love Bonk's Adventures. But I just wanted to just add thank you so much. We had to the amazing guests that came on the show, shared your wonderful retro stories and your experiences. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate your guys' time, and we certainly love to hear your guys' personal stories. It's kind of what the show's all about, besides the minutia of retro and nostalgia. But Pam, or wait, hold on, Jeff. Before we go, is there anything else you would like to comment or say?
Nope, I'm good. Nope,
right.
I'm good. Again, I'm just going to echo the thanks because I know neither of you really knew us, and I just reached out to both of you. Like I have, Essex is in the chat. I reached out to him. I appreciate you guys. I followed you guys. I think I've tweeted with a few of, with you guys, and you guys were great to come on the show. And, just our little ragtag band of idiots here talking retro. But
speak for yourself.
But yes, but I know neither of you really knew us, but you guys were gracious to give up 2 hours of your time to come and chat, and I really appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to the four of us. I know Ryzak had to leave, but it does mean a lot to us because we like branching out. We love knowing, and Pam, especially from Canada, there's not a lot of the retro community in Canada is not as big as people would think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, right? So,
For sure.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
But yeah, most definitely. You guys were fantastic. We had a wonderful discussion. Pam, where can people find you and what do you have coming up in the future?
You can find me on YouTube. My channel is called Cannot Be Tamed. And on Twitch, it is also called Cannot Be Tamed. I just put up a video today on Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Nice.
I don't know what I'll be doing for the rest of the month. I'll just make something up, possibly a video on Laura Bow and the Dagger of Amon-Ra. Maybe a spooky games on Game Pass. Haven't really decided.
You like the indie game. You like the indie games. I noticed you've been doing a lot of indie games, right?
Yeah, I love indie games. I play very few AAA games now, so it's mostly indie stuff if it's not retro.
Well, if you ever liked Joust, definitely go check out Killer Queen Black. It's fun. It's a thinking man's Joust. There's more to do than just hit birds and stuff. But anyway.
Okay. Well, that's it. And thank you so much for having me on. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you for
my pleasure.
Mikey, how about you, sir?
It's Mikey Loves Retro everywhere on Twitter, Twitch. Make it pretty simple on here. It's Mikey Loves Retro on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. It's all Mikey Loves Retro everywhere. What I have going on, probably I don't know. I like to just go with the flow. If something new comes out, and I like it, I might stream it or play it. Currently, like I said, I'm playing Metroid Dread, so I'll probably finish that up. Doing some Diablo 2 Resurrection. Ooh. So I really enjoying that, but the servers have been horrendous. Other than that, I don't know. I whatever news come out, maybe I'll check it out. But maybe I'll do a whole Castlevania marathon because I've been really enjoying playing that, and maybe I'll do the Advanced Collection because I have that. So I know people have not seen much of that, so I might do something like that in the future. And thank you guys for having me as well. Had fun.
It was awesome, man. Thank you, man, for making the time. Ray, what are you up to, man? Where can people find you?
Let's see. Tonight I'm going to be streaming some Back for Blood. xCloud. It's on the xCloud Game Pass. And then Let's see. Monday I'll be with Rock Reveal. Let's see what. No, that's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Monday I'm playing some Siege, Rainbow Six Siege, and then Tuesday, real spooky. I'm gonna do some Alien Isolation. Tuesday night. So just Ray3473. I am the gaming sideboard. Just check out on Twitter, Ray3473. Thank you guys.
All right, Jeff, you're up, sir.
Cool.
People find you. What are you up to?
Well, when I'm not here with you guys, Monday nights I stream at 8 p.m. Same with Wednesdays, and then Friday nights I do a retro stream. I've been playing because it's spooky season. I've been playing Devil May Cry 3. So I've been doing that, and then periodically when I can do some other stuff. Mom's going in for hip surgery in how long is it? 9 days. 9 days till Mom's hip surgery. So over the course of the end of the month and stuff, I may be a little absent from the streams just because I need to got lots of stuff going on, lots of appointments, which she hates.
I'm sure.
But apart from that, yeah, just playing and hanging out with you guys. I have Thursday nights with Anthony and Ryzak. We do No Yes Men. And I think I'm going to do a special stream in the holidays where I bring my parents back. Everyone seemed to love them, so I may do a fireside chat where people can ask questions of especially my dad and his. I did post a picture. We were driving around town yesterday, and the old rooming house that he first moved into here in Hamilton. My parents live in Hamilton, Pam.
Mhm.
So in 1946, when my dad moved from the Midland Penetanguishene area down to Hamilton, the first rooming house he lived in 1946, post-war, is still there. And so I took a picture of and tweeted that out yesterday. So
Oh, nice.
that brought back some memories for my dad, and he was off with the stories, talking about the armories and other stuff. So people are asking for it. So if they're asking for it, they want to know more from my parents. I'll put them online so we can talk to them. Oh, she says not her. Oh, she says not. She says not her. So my dad likes to talk, so we will put him on.
Well, he's certainly entertaining. That's for sure.
More entertaining than I am.
Agreed.
All right, SPG, where are you this week?
Yes.
Yeah, well, every other Sunday you can find me here at Stadia Pro Gaming. We do Retro Rewind, and Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays I stream from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. CST. I believe this Monday I'm going to do some more Doom Eternal, try to get rid of that, get it off my backlog. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in to Retro Rewind episode 13. I know that the guests appreciated it, and we certainly did. And trying to find my thing. There it is.
One final question for Pam from Sierra Rose. How often do you do makeup videos? I know it's not retro related, but
Oh, that's very sporadically. Maybe once a month, maybe twice a month.
okay. All right.
and
SPG's wife wanted to know, so
Okay.
wanted to sneak that in before
Go
we
ahead,
done that.
Pam.
And my makeup channel is called Cosmetic DLC, if anyone wants to check that out.
Awesome name.
Jeff will be checking that probably out later.
I need all the makeup help I can get, Ray. Need all the makeup help I can get.
But okay, thank you guys all for joining us for this 2 hours. We had a blast. We hope you did too. And just be good, be kind, and be good to each other. Later,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone. Thanks, everyone in the chat.
Bye.
I did it.